I would like to advise all those present that notice of this regular meeting of April 16th, 2025 has been provided to the public in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of time and place of this meeting has been included in the annual notice of meetings, which was posted and filed with the city clerk and with the Jersey Journal, Star Ledger, and the Bergen Record. An additional notice of time and place was posted and filed with the city clerk and was forwarded to the Bergen Record and Star Ledger on April 11th, 2025. The regular meeting of the Municipal Council of the City of Bayonne is now in session. Ms. Medina, please call the roll.
Mr. Booker?
Here.
Mr. Carroll? Here. Mr. Perez?
Here.
Ms. Weimer?
Here.
Mr. La Palusa?
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first item is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, adopting the redevelopment plan 415 Agnes Street, which is identified as Block 232, Lot 10, as shown on the official tax map of the city pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. It was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held February 19th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin boards required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at the meeting of March 19th, and was postponed to this meeting of April 16th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And Council President moved the ordinance be given a second reading. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
Mr. Booker?
Aye.
Mr. Carroll? Aye. Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Weimer?
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, adopting the redevelopment plan for 15 Agnes Street, which is identified as Block 232, Lot 10, as shown on the official tax map of the city pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak.
Yes. Please come up to the microphone and give your name and address, please.
Melissa Godesky Rodriguez, 148 Avenue F. Again, as I'm still learning and educating myself on this process, this isn't necessarily about the property, right? This has already been adopted. We're going forward with this, correct? Just keep me honest here.
It's not about the property? I don't understand what you're asking.
You're developing there, correct? In some way, shape, or form? Somebody is?
Somebody's developing, yes.
Okay. Do we know the size, what's the size of the building? Do we know? Honestly, I don't want to make you guys go crazy over that. It's not my purpose.
It's
It's a three.
3 floors, 3 units.
Okay.
If you're asking me specific feet, I don't know that answer. So
No, I don't need feet, but I just, as we go forward in developing anything, 3 units, 50 units, 1,500 units, or 2,500 units, I think we need to be a little bit more mindful in parking. I'm going to tell you that. Units are being built, parking's being added to the streets. We're literally putting the lines, enabling the residents to not use their paid parking, okay? So I'm just respectfully asking as a resident who does not have parking. I do not have a parking garage. I do not have a driveway. But I am
We had a
so,
very big discussion at our caucus meeting about that.
okay, good.
And we're undergoing plans right now to put money aside for designated parking spots. It's going to take a little while, and we have to raise some of the money. And I'll be quite honest with you, we're brainstorming the best way to do it right now.
Can I make a really simple suggestion?
I would love to. I would love to.
Start enforcing your 24 hours Monday through Friday parking. That shift's going to pay for itself plus some.
That actually is just coming into effect.
I just did a memo for the mayor's office that it's going to start on May 12th, and we'll issue 1 month's worth of warning tickets so that everybody gets up to speed as what's happening. It would be kind of unfair to just walk up on a Tuesday. Starting Monday, I think it's June 16th, tickets will be issued. And we're going to have extra PEOs on to enforce the 24-hour parking. It's going to go a long way towards that. You're right.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then just in thinking of creating lines, and to your point, I guess, President LaPalooza, you're already on that route to just creating a way for us to park, because residents, developments, and private homes deserve a place to park that's reasonable, not 9 blocks from their home.
We agree, and it's been a problem for, I don't know how many years, that we're trying to fix.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Did you want to speak?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Council President Michael Maselli, I represent the property owner here. Last month, there was a resolution that we were trying to get on that was supposed to make corrections to this ordinance. I just want to make sure that that's part of this, the ordinance reading.
I believe the clerk has that.
Good, great, thank you. That's it.
Anybody else? No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage. May I have a motion to close the
Move it.
hearing?
Second.
And on the motion to close the hearing, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering the ordinance.
Move it.
Second.
And on the amendment, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Move it.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
02 is a capital ordinance providing for the construction of and improvements to a portion of the Hudson River Walkway, waterfront walkway, in the portion of the city known as the Peninsula, and appropriating $3,500,000 therefore, authorized in and by the city of Bayonne in the county of Hudson, New Jersey, which was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held, should say March 19th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 16th, is now before the council for its consideration and public hearing. And a resolution giving the ordinance second reading is moved by the council president. Mr. Carroll, will you second? Second. And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, a capital ordinance providing for the construction of and improvements to a portion of the Hudson River waterfront walkway in a portion of the city known as the Peninsula, and appropriating $3,500,000 therefore, authorized in and by the city of Bayonne in the county of Hudson, New Jersey. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak.
Yes, Mike.
Mike Masigno, 42 West 23rd Street. The walkways in Bayonne have been just terrific. You've all been doing a great job with it, with the developers and the planning board and the city council and the public works people. And this waterfront walkway, I'm going to get the full ordinance. I get tomorrow. I get to City Hall and see it. Would anybody here know the actual area on? Because I know they got to continue from where LA Fitness is on down where that apartment building's been finished, and there's not a walkway there. And basically, I want to bring up a mention. I talked to Sue Mack and Mr. Rickle, Andrew Rickle, about it, having a kayak launch on this east side of Bayonne. And with this waterfront walkway being built, to keep that in mind so the public can have access to that side. And also with the new buildings going up there, and it, there might be like a city unto itself, there should be more water access on that side for a kayak launch. I know you're working on getting a ferry in there too, and because the further out in the tide, the better it is. Because we can put in at the LA Fitness area, but it is very tidal there. And
So there was an area for kayaks put in several years ago. I don't remember how many years ago, but it was quite a while ago. And it was a little bit past the mud flats, if you know where the mud is in the beginning.
right, but
So-
it,
So it was a little past that, and it was rough. So what you're asking for is something, obviously,
Yes,
a little
we-
more permanent and more conducive to being used.
yes, almost something like they did, that
Yeah,
the
this
city
was
did it
more-
at 16th Street Park, which was terrific, with just the sand and everything go down, and have something that people can pull up, little parking area, drop the kayak off, go away with the car, and, just.
The parking area might be a little difficult because of the location, and
Right.
this is way down past where the walkway even starts, where the mud flats in the beginning, you couldn't really start a kayak from that if the tide
Right,
is out.
well, right, with the tides out, no, but like I say, LA Fitness has one there, we can get to it, because the wall's not so high. And we need something I mean, you have so many people here, and Bayonne being surrounded by water.
Sure.
We should have more than one, and the one on 16th Street is just terrific and everything.
We could look into the cost of something like that and see if it's feasible. Again, the location would be probably one of the factors, if
Yes.
there was any, that would hold it back. This specifically does not mention anything about that. That's more for pavered walkways, and there's gonna be some landscaping in there, bike path, benches, trash receptacles, things of that nature.
Right.
And that eats up, the 3.5 doesn't go as far as we wish it would. But-
Right.
But, we can look into that and see what that would cost down in that area, because, again, you're looking at a whole different terrain than what's on 16th Street. So I don't know what that would entail and how much that would build, but I'm sure we can look into something like that.
Yeah, that'd be terrific, just to keep it in mind, because again, there's a huge, you have 20,000 people there.
I
And
think it
it's
would
great
be-
to
I
have
think
that
it'd be
inlet to
great.
be
It would
used.
absolutely- it would
Okey dokey,
absolutely be
thank you.
great. Thanks, Mike.
Anyone else? No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
move.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
So move.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
03 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 19, Fire Prevention and Protections, which was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 19th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 16th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And the resolution given the ordinance second reading is moved by the council president. Mr. Booker, will you second? Second. On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 19, Fire Prevention and Protections. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
Move it.
Second.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Move it.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
This ordinance not only defines different things as lithium-ion batteries and mobility devices, but also creates a registration that certain individuals will have to apply to the Bayonne Fire and register with the Bayonne Fire Prevention Bureau. And there's also a registration fee that will have to be paid as well. So it puts the people who are storing these batteries or have them in their possession on notice to the fire department. So it's very important, and I vote aye.
4 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne. That one is wrong. Chapter 4, Licensing, Registration, and Business Regulations, which was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 19th, was published in the Bergen Record and published on the bulletin board.
We'll do it as a whole? Madeline?
So, on this introduction and second reading, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And the council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
So move.
On the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage. We want to do it as a whole.
Yeah, as a whole, that's fine.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
05 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 2, Administration. Was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 19th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage at this meeting of April 16th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And second reading is moved by Council President. Mr. Booker, will you second?
Second.
And on second reading, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 2, Administration. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
Second.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage. And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
06 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 2, Administration. It was also introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 19th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 16th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution moved by the council president, giving the ordinance second reading. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 2, Administration. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion to close?
Move it.
Second.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And resolution ordering final passage.
Move it.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
07 is an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic. It was introduced and passed the first reading at the meeting held March 19th, was published in the Bergen Record and posted on the bulletin board as required by law, with notice that it would be further considered for final passage following a public hearing at this meeting of April 16th, is now before the council for its consideration and a public hearing. And a resolution giving the ordinance second reading. It's moved by Councilmember Perez. Mr. Booker, will you second? Second. On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez. Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Second reading is by title, an ordinance amending and supplementing the revised general ordinances of the City of Bayonne, Chapter 7, Traffic. The council is now ready to give all persons interested in this ordinance an opportunity to be heard concerning it. The council president will recognize anyone who wishes to speak. No protest against, objections to, or statements in favor of this ordinance or its passage has been filed with me. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And on the motion to close, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
And a resolution ordering final passage.
Moved.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
Our first speaker is Ms. Nadrowski.
Sharon Nadrowski, 126 Avenue A. Good evening, everyone, and happy Easter, since I only hope to be up here once tonight. Just want to say, I'm here again to talk about the impound lot at West Second Street. I did send an email to you all, so I'm going to read it because some of the neighbors from here, from that area, are here tonight, in case everyone doesn't know, that in August of 2019, we had passed a resolution, the city council, to make that a pedestrian mall, which was for pedestrian enjoyment, safety, convenience, public seating, parking areas, trees, flower beds, plantings, and kiosks. Well, sometime in 2025, there was no resolution technically for it, that was disregarded, and we decided to make it a police impound yard, which is, instead of being all those nice things, going to provide soil and water pollution from gasoline, oil, antifreeze, metals such as lead, cadmium, and mercuries, air pollution, dust, and debris, and vehicle emissions, increasing greenhouse effects from the cars that are being pulled in there and the cars working around the lot. Also, 03 was about taking care of lithium batteries. There are known fire hazards. Electric cars could be potentially there. They're not immune from impound. There's fire hazards for us that live in that area, especially those who live closer than me. I did clock it on my run the other day. I'm only less than 0.3 of a mile from there. Anyway. And then I'm also here just to say that, last month when I was here, I appreciated the support of a few of the council people up here that were so enraged that they hadn't been made aware of this. And then, after doing a little homework on my own, I find out, which I'm a little insulted at, that on January 22nd of 2025, just 2 months prior at the council meeting, I'm going to read it for you. There was a resolution that was passed, and this is the title that you all had in front of you when you voted on it, authorizing the purchasing agent to procure and purchase the installation of fencing around new police impound yard located 2nd Street and Avenue A from statewide fencing contractors at 651 South Avenue, Garwood, New Jersey, in the amount of $37,235. So I don't understand how, when I was here last month, and a number of people got up and spoke, some who couldn't make it tonight, and you all acted like you didn't know this was coming. You approved a resolution that said this was coming. And we were all indignant up there and peacocking, and we would never let this happen if we knew it. But you knew it. You approved the money to put the fence there. So I just don't understand. I don't understand if, I know we rely on our professionals, your BA, your lawyer, and everything to tell you and explain what's on the agenda. And I get that sometimes they don't. Gary, you're in a pre-agenda meeting where everything's gone over line by line. I know the other council people don't get that. But it literally said exactly what it was for in the title block that everyone saw. So I'm a little confused on that. So, and I'd just like to say this also. Block and lot. Block 359, Lot 2, is the foot of Ingram Avenue. Lot 452.01, Lot 9, is Route 440 north on and 22nd Street. Lot 476.01, Lot 3, is the Atlas Yacht Club. And Block 1161, Lot 2, is 51 Port Terminal Boulevard, which was used by the BLRA. That's who it's still. I think we need to update our tax map in Bayonne because the owners are not right, or the tax maps isn't. According to that, basically the city of Bayonne still owns all of Moppy, and we know that's not true. But all of these, I just spent 15 minutes to find them. All potential lots, because we said we couldn't find potential lots. We give a lot of tax breaks and credits to a lot of companies. UPS has a lot of land. I'm sure that the city asked them if they wouldn't mind giving us a little piece of it. The Gumptas, if they would have mind their property down there that they're not using yet, maybe they wouldn't give us a piece of it. There's trying to think of who else. There's a lot of places, the old Kenridge lot, that are not being used. Did anyone ask all these people that we go out, and we appreciate them. UPS is a great addition to the city. Great paying jobs, great company to work for, profit sharing, employee owned. Can't say enough about them. Do we even ask anybody, or we just inconvenience the same people over and over again? And again, I'm just a little disturbed that I felt like the people who were here last week were misled that you didn't know about it because you approved something the month before. Thank you.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Melissa Godesky Rodriguez, 148 Avenue F. So I want to talk about restrictive parking zones, okay? So currently today, and I could be wrong, E-Code 360 only shows that we offer a $250 fine. So for the person applying for the spot, the hoops they have to jump through, a fire, with their hands tied behind their back, their ankles tied with cuffs, blindfolded, hoping that they get all their information right, pay the $10 fee, pay the $40 fee, they do all this. Potentially their spot gets approved. Potentially, because there are people who don't qualify. A car parks in that spot and it's not towable. But private businesses can have a tow-away zone on their restrictive parking zones. Currently, I cannot see anywhere on any of our ordinances that show residential restrictive parking for residents, residential, as a tow-away zone, meaning they can be fined and then towed. I would really like the council to consider that as a consequence for those who take advantage of other people's parking spots who need them. We are in a time where people deserve the right to have accessible parking. It is about equity, okay? It is not about privilege. I'm not privileged to have a parking spot. I did what I had to do for that spot. I don't speak just for myself, but I speak for anybody who needs a spot like that in front of their house. I wish they didn't. But then to allow a car to sit in it for 3 days, it couldn't get towed. Police said they can't tow it. It's not in the law. I can't find it. I could be wrong, and please somebody email me in 2 weeks and tell me I'm wrong. It should be a tow-away zone.
Specifically, what was the sign? Like, what was it, what was the restriction?
It's your basic residential sign. I don't actually have a photo of it, but it says like restrictive parking, $250 fine, and that's it. It does not have tow-away zone. No tow-away zone, and Mr. Coffey, you could probably keep me honest here.
No,
It
you-
has
you're-
to be
you're right.
specific.
It does have to be specific, and it doesn't say that. And I
does not.
would dare say that if this next phase, this 24-hour enforcement of the residential restricted parking areas is not successful, I think the next thing that's going to happen is towaways.
We're talking about handicapped spots. The
no.
residential handicapped spots.
Handicap spots,
Yeah,
okay.
so not the public, like not like Lowe's or whatever, but the resident who jumped through hoops of fire, like an acrobat, deserves to get their spot.
That was the specifics I was looking for.
Yes,
Okay.
they deserve to get that spot back and accessible within a reasonable amount of time. 3 days, even 24 hours, I think is unacceptable. I give it 2 hours. You better move your vehicle, and it should be towed. Those people have a right, seniors, disabled, everybody, they deserve a right to have, they put money into it. They probably took days off of work.
Right. I will look into the ordinance and see what it says about towing as far as that's concerned.
I can't
I
find
want
it
to
yet.
answer without having looked at the ordinance, but I almost can't imagine that it can't be towed within 3 days.
I think it should be towed within 24
But
hours personally.
3 days would be across the board. If a car is parked for 72 hours, it can be
Correct.
towed. It might be a state statute that allows it. I'm looking at the state statute now.
Okay, thank you for looking into that. Again, it's about equity for our residents who have put the work in for their right to have accessible parking. So I appreciate your consideration, and thank you for hearing me out on that one.
Mr. Pagano?
Good evening. Retired Sergeant Anthony C. Pagano, 51 Trask Avenue, Bayonne, New Jersey. I'd like to start by mentioning a date, and then I'll get back to that date, April 13th. I want to mention a situation ongoing, one of the city's favorite topics, Bayonne feral cats. I want to bring up one particular situation that's going on now. About 10 years ago, the administration of Bayonne at that time did a tremendous job rescuing the cats down at the A&P and moved them down to the Atlas area. They built a beautiful shelter there, which still exists, and the young lady from Bonilla from Jersey City goes down there every day to take care of them. Well, what's happening down now at North Street, the A&P, which I go down every day, twice a day, to feed the 12 cats down there now. As you know, there is eventually going to be some construction going on down there. But the other day, I was approached by one of the employees in that dilapidated garage down there, said to me, Tony, you know, we're moving. something's going to happen with this garage and something's going to happen with these cats. I want to make you aware of that. I'll tell you why, if I may. Number one, again, the feral cat situation is just, it's not worth mentioning too much about it because it's just ignored. But the reason I'm mentioning a date, April 13th, April 13th, 2024, anybody remember what happened on that date? No? I'll tell you what, let me remind you what happened. He's allowed the extinction of 30 feral cats down at the dry dock. He's allowed it. They were murdered. And that's what's going to happen to these cats down at the A&P. You're looking at me like I don't know what I'm talking about?
No, there were cats that were terminated, killed.
They were what?
They were terminated, they were killed. It wasn't the city of Bayonne that allowed that, that was on private property. That's
If I may, let me argue with that for 1 second, if I may.
You finish, and then
Okay.
we'll talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, I want you to
Okay.
finish.
When you say
Let
private
him
property,
finish.
if somebody murders somebody in a house that's private property, that's not a crime? Thank you. Those cats were murdered on private property, and the city allowed it, and the Port Authority allowed it to happen. Drop the subject, they're dead, they're gone. All I'm saying is that that situation may is going to happen again down at North Street with the A&P. There's only 12 cats down there that I feed every day, twice a day. It's not like other colonies in Bayonne, which there's a tremendous amount more. But I just want to make you aware that I was told by an employee down there that, which everybody knows that big area is going to get redeveloped, thank God, but that garage that's owned by the trucking, I don't even know what trucking company is down there, but there's a trucking company down there. The garage is dilapidated. That's coming down because they're moving, the trucking company is moving. I asked him what date, he said, I can't tell you, Tony, but it's going to be soon. So when and if they knock that down, the 12 cats down there, who knows what's going to happen? The only thing I'm trying to prevent is if the supposedly owner of Dry Dock is the one that allowed these cats to get murdered, extincted, whatever you want to call it, I'm just trying to avoid the owner of the property with the garage down there for the same thing to happen and make you aware that, well, I know you're aware that the cats are there, but if anything could be done, because again, the administration 10 years ago did a great job. That shelter area down at the Atlas Yacht Club is beautiful. I mean, they got houses. They live better than some of these people in Bayonne. I got news for you. But anyway, and I asked if they could be moved to that area, but the young lady who is taking care, I'll use that word, of the cats down there, who comes all the way from Journal Square every day to take care of the cats down there, she's a wonderful lady, said to me in the past, Tony, I'm paying too much money to feed them, medicate them, and everything else, and I can't have anything more, which that's a totally another story. Me and my bride there, twice a day, every day of the week, we feed these cats down there. We're paying it. We were feeding the 30 cats down there. The only good thing about that would happen down there, it was costing us, and there were other parties involved, it was costing us at that time $700 a month to feed the 30 cats. Now it's only costing us about $250 a month to feed the cats down there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, just one thing that I wanted to mention. When we became aware of there were cats being sheltered down at the base, down by the dry dock, the people who contacted me, and they contacted others in the city, were told that that's private property, that they shouldn't be having the traps and all that there. And it happened more than once. So I'm not sure when the euthanization happened or
April
whatever.
13th.
I'm saying,
How I know?
I'm saying I'm not sure
It was
whether it was
April
after the first, the second, I don't really know
It was April
that.
13th.
But this council, the feral cats are really, really near to our hearts, and we try to do everything that we can. We start, the program and everything else. We try to dedicate money to it, and there's been a lot of bumps in the road. I'm not going to lie, but it's not something that I want to do away with. I can't speak for the rest of my colleagues, but I think we're all in agreement, since we went ahead with the program, that we want to see something done positively for these animals. So with that, I can discuss that a little further down the road with our municipal services director and see where we're gonna go from there. All right, thank you for making us aware.
Okay.
Madeline?
Okay. 08 is an ordinance proposed for introduction. It is an ordinance of the City of Bayonne, County of Hudson, New Jersey, approving the preliminary investigation and non-condemnation redevelopment for the property located at 18-20 and 22 East 18th Street, no, that's 15th Street, which is identified as Block 253, lots 39 and 40, as shown on the official tax map of the city, pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. And a resolution moved by the council president fixing Wednesday, May 14th, in the Dorothy E. Harrington Council Chambers as a time, place for a public hearing and final passage. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll? Did you say no? Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Weimer? Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
09 is authorizing an encroachment agreement with 111 Avenue F Partners Urban Renewal LLC for the property located at 107-111 Avenue F and 86 East 22nd Street, which is identified as Block 456, Lot 7, 8.01, 8.02, 9, and 10. And the resolution moved by the council president. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Mr. Carroll?
Real quick, because I haven't actually seen that. I know we talked about it at the caucus meeting. I think some of my colleagues saw the plan. The overhang meets with your approval?
Yes, because it's not on the first floor. It was the higher floors. It's basically like windows and things that will go open up over the airspace, basically. Whereas we had done one of these in the past that was actually on the first floor. That was a different situation. But this is the second one that I can remember. I don't know if there's more than two, but, yeah. It's, yeah, technically it's over our airspace, but it's not really doing anything to the area where people will walk.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Weimer? Aye. Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
10 is an ordinance amending Chapter 7 Traffic. It is adding one restrictive parking zone. And the resolution fixing Wednesday, May 14th is the time, place for a public hearing and final passage. Mr. Perez, we moved it. Mr. Booker, will you second? On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll? Aye. Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Weimer? Aye. Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
011 is approving the redevelopment plan for 33-37 East 18th Street, which is identified as Block 226, lots 12, 13, and 14, as shown on the official tax map of the city pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. And a resolution fixing Wednesday, May 14th, as a time and place for a public hearing and final passage. Who'd like to move it?
Move it.
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
And consent resolutions is a resolution moved by the council as a whole, ordering the following communications to be received and filed. It covers C1 through C30. And C30's, the appeal date is that for the caucus of May 7th at 6 o'clock. Any questions on the communications? And on the communications, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
OR1 is from Donna L. Mauer, Chief Financial Officer, reporting on vendor payments and recommending payment of the same, and a resolution adopting the recommendation and ordering payment of the claims. It's moved by the council as a whole. On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
Consent resolutions is moved by the council as a whole, ordering the following resolutions to be adopted. It covers CR1 through CR26. Any questions on the consent resolutions? CR21 is coming up. They know. So on the consent resolutions, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
R1 is approving the temporary emergency appropriations number 4 in the calendar year 2025 budget. It's moved by the Council President. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R2 is authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an amended agreement with Clark Caton Hints for professional planning services in connection with the city's Council on Affordable Housing work for a period commencing January 1 through December 31st, 2025, for a contract amount not to exceed $200,000. It's moved by Councilmember Perez. Mr. La Palusa, will you second?
Second.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
He stepped out.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R2 is a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Montrose Environmental Solutions, Inc. for environmental consulting services in connection with developer and redeveloper work for a period commencing April 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, for a total contract amount not to exceed $200,000. It's moved by the Council President. Mr. Perez, will you second? Is he back? He's not
he
here. Who
stepped
would like
out.
to second?
I'll second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R4 is authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Montrose Environmental Solutions, Inc. for environmental consulting services in connection with the city's work for a period commencing April 16th and ending December 31st, 2025, for a contract amount not to exceed $50,000. Who'd like to second? Who'd like to move it, actually? And a second? On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll? Aye. Has Mr. Perez come back yet?
Aye.
Ms. Weimer? Ms. Weimer on R4?
Aye. I'm sorry.
Okay. Mr. La Palusa?
Aye.
R5 is moved by Councilmember Perez, authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Iglesino Taylor LLC for professional legal services with the city's Council on Affordable Housing for a period commencing January 1 through December 31st, 2025, for a total amount not to exceed $75,000. Mr. Booker, would you like the second? Second. On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R6 is authorizing and directing the planning board to conduct a preliminary investigation to determine if the property is located at 104-108 West 7th, and which is identified as Block 314, Lot 44.01, as shown on the official tax map, constitutes a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment. It's moved by the Council President. Mr. Perez, will you second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R7 is authorizing a conditional designation on John and Mary Ann LLC for 1037-1041 Broadway, which is identified as Block 45, Lot 20, as shown on the official tax map of the city, and authorizing the execution of an interim cost agreement. Would like to move it.
Move it.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R8 is authorizing the preparation of a redevelopment agreement with 24-34 East 22nd Street LLC for the property located at 28-34 East 22nd Street, which is identified as Lot 212, lots 30, 31, and 32. Mr. Perez, you moved it. Mr. Booker, will you second? Second. On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Aye.
Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R9 is authorizing and directing the planning board to conduct a preliminary investigation to determine if the property is located at 9 East 50th, 10 East 50th, 16 East 50th, 1022 Broadway, 1026 Broadway, 1028, and 1030 Broadway, which are identified as Block 54, Lots 1, 22.01, 22.02, 21, 26, 25, 24, and 23, as shown on the official tax map, constitutes a non-condemnation area of need of redevelopment pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law. Would like to move it.
Move it.
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez. Aye. Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R10 is authorizing and directing the planning board to conduct a preliminary investigation to determine whether the properties identified as Block 452.02, Lots 6, 7, and 9 constitutes a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment. Would like to move it.
So move.
On that one, it's R10. Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R11 is providing for the addition of a section for future redevelopment plans to include permanent parking structures. It's moved by the council president. Mr. Booker, will you second? Second. On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Mr. La Palusa.
And this will have some other things added to it for the same reasons, for the permanent parking structures. So this is something we're going to be visiting in the next months, and I'll vote aye.
R12 is designating the property located at 745-747 Broadway, which is identified as Block 139, Lots 18 and 19, as shown on the official tax map, constitutes a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment, and authorizing the planning board to prepare a redevelopment plan for said property. Would like to move it.
Move it.
Second.
On that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. No. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R13 is designating the property located at 626-628 Avenue E, which is identified as Block 405, Lot 31, as shown on the official tax map, as a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment, and authorizing the planning board to prepare a redevelopment plan. Would like to move it.
Move it.
Second.
And on R13, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R14 is authorizing the execution of a construction commitment and construction completion deadlines in the redevelopment agreement by and between Parkview Realty Urban Renewal II LLC and the City of Bayonne for the property located at 130 Avenue F and identified as Block 450, Lot 1.01.
So move.
And a second?
Second.
And on the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
R15 is designating the property located at 62.5-72 Prospect Avenue, which is identified as Block 449, Lots 21, 22, and 23, as shown on the official tax map of the city, constitutes a non-condemnation area of need of redevelopment, and authorizing the planning board to prepare a redevelopment plan.
So move.
That's what you said.
And a second?
Second.
On the resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll. Aye. Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer.
Madeline, I'm abstaining.
And Mr. La Palusa.
Aye.
I have one additional add-on, which is in connection with 08. It is designating the property located at 18-22 East 18th Street as a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, and authorizing and directing the planning board to prepare a redevelopment plan.
Move it.
Second.
And on that resolution, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Just to clarify, you said that it's written as 18th, but it is 15th, right? 15th Street? Because you said '08, so '08 pertains to,
It's 15.
okay.
You're correct. The add-on.
Add one.
And that is not 18-22nd East 18th Street?
No, it should be
That is not
50.
the properties adjacent to that lot?
It's related back to '08.
It's relating back to '08, to the redevelopment plan.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Ms. Weimer? Just contemplating. Aye. And Mr. La Palusa?
Aye. And Madeline, is that it? Because I have a statement I want to read.
That is all I have, yes.
Okay. Last month, there was an error made in the way that we spoke about the impound lot, and I would like to give a sincere apology to both Chief Geisler, Director Kubert, and the department, the police as well. I want it to be known that we do appreciate your efforts for everything that you do, and when I make an error, I'm a big enough man to admit that I did, and I apologize. So, with that, I would also like to wish everybody a happy Easter and a happy Passover. And is there anything else?
Just that I would agree with you, Gary, and I was right there with you, so I feel the same way.
Okay.
So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
And on the motion to adjourn, Mr. Booker. Aye. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Mr. Perez.
Aye.
Ms. Weimer. Aye. Mr. La Palusa.
Aye. Have a good evening and a good holiday, everybody.